So I'm Chris Cherry, Exec Director for Strategy and Business Development at Learning Skills Improvement Service. I've been in post since the 1st of December, so I've only been at LSIS for about 6 weeks. I've got about 18 years in the FE sector. Started in FE colleges. I started then managing the apprenticeship provision in FE colleges. I've also taught HE in colleges, and subsequently, in much later life, became Managing Director of a successful training company, as well as, in the interim, working in the Learning Skills Council and becoming an area director in Greater Manchester. So that's where I've come from and sort of came to LSIS. The first thing I did at LSIS when I arrived was to take a look at the strategy and how LSIS is looking to discharge its duties to the sector in 2012.
And how can LSIS help the sector change?
Okay, well, I mean, partly it's driven by what the government requirements are in this process, of all of us, not just of LSIS, but of the sector as well. So John Hayes has stated quite clearly that Learning Skills Improvement Service is the improvement service for the FE and skills sector. So that's a mandate, if you like, to be the agency that would be the first responders, if you like, to issues in learning and skills. And certainly with regard to inspections in FE colleges, the intervention part of that is a very strong one. We would go and help colleges to transform and to recover from the position that they're in. In terms of managing change, it's interesting times in the sector at the moment. I think each part of the sector has different challenges. Further education colleges have challenges in delivering for their communities, something which they have perhaps up to now not felt as a priority to see it as a community base, rather than deliverers of qualifications and support primarily for younger people, but obviously for adults as well. And obviously they now have more freedoms and flexibilities built into their funding. And the issue then, of course, is if we go ahead and plan to deliver for our community, and we go ahead and deliver a range of services for the community that add value, is that something which can and should be fundable? And will the funding bodies respond by saying that's an excellent use of public resources? I think there's a tension there in wanting to move and being bold and brave, and feeling that able to be bold and brave because of the funding that goes with it. So the big job for LSIS, I think, to support the FE college part to discharge their community engagement agenda. So working with local enterprise partnerships, working with other providers, working with interested community groups, third sector employers, and actually employers in general. Work-based learning providers is slightly different again, because work-based learning providers will tend to work more in the community because they are needing to be a service to the community, because they obviously have an income imperative in that surviving on apprenticeships. They've got to deliver high quality for customers, repeat business, and progression through levels is the way that you can build and grow the business. And for them, they have different challenges, because it's to do with employers and the wider economy, and in encouraging employers to take a risk on an apprentice and to create a job opportunity that didn't exist before. And issues for them, of course, are around frameworks and functional skills and the merge from basic skills, all the kind of operational qualification-led changes that change the way that you deliver a qualification. I'm quite apart from the different way that these organisations are led and managed. An FE college has a board of governors, a very clear public altruistic oversight of an FE college, whereas a private training provider is a commercial entity with a board of directors who are probably beneficial shareholders and have a funding interest, which change the dynamic. You don't tend to have boards of governors who descend for a meeting. They tend to be obviously part of the infrastructure, and it's a very different sort of governance model. And of course there are third sector employers who are, they're very operational, they get stuck in with their work. They don't tend to be able to work on the business as much as working in it, because of the restrictions and the tight margins that are in there. And then there's a kind of wider sort of semi-private public arena of adult learning, where adult learning providers can have a range of funding models and funding imperatives. And again, their issues are different again. And the challenge for them, of course, is to deliver qualifications for the community, which might have funding, but also might not, in which case then who is going to be paying for that? So how does LSIS discharge its duties? Well, of course, we are prepaid from the public purse, if you like, for support. So I'm very keen, certainly for AELP members, and also, of course, for partners in AOC and 157 and IS and others, that all the providers who are prepaid for LSIS support feel the benefits of that, and certainly at a greater rate, if you like, than the amount they've paid in. And we wouldn't want to feel that we're favouring one or other part of the sector disproportionately. And we have a very complex offer of support. I'm trying to focus it down with my director colleagues such that we have a recognisable offer, which is not significantly different, but actually much more focused. And we're looking at teaching and learning, teaching and learning being two parts of the sort of classroom practice, but not the same thing. They are different elements. That would include things like curriculum. We're looking at ways to support leadership, governance and management, understanding the difference in terminology between governance, leadership and management in different types of training providers. And also we are wanting to use quite bold approaches for intervention. Now, the word intervention is a powerful word in our world, and it literally does mean when something goes wrong, particularly in ethnic colleges, we will be the support agency that will go and help to fix it. Now, we're obviously supporting Ofsted's reframing of the inspection framework such that satisfactory needs improvement, because needs improvement is a positive action word that means something needs to be done. Satisfactory, you can sit back and think, well, that's great, we got away with it, that's fine. Or perhaps you might say, well, been satisfactory a couple of times, that's what we can aspire to. Whereas actually, of course, the new chief inspector says that's not good enough and it needs improvement, which means somebody somewhere has got to go and do something to generate that improvement. And we see a role in there for LSIS to do that as well. And so we'd much rather be involved in inspection work earlier, and that will prevent others from requiring intervention. So we can spend more of our resources on teaching and learning and management and less on problem solving. Because that's one of those imponderable areas you just can't quantify how much you're going to need to spend on that, because you have to wait for something to happen and then be involved in doing that. So we're looking in the next few weeks, probably by the end of February, to have something around a new strategy articulated to the sector, and we're certainly committed to having a new strategy in place with a much more focused offer to the sector for our new year in August.